Crossfaded, the sports podcast that you didn't know you needed. Our views and opinions may be a little unconventional. The host may be a little high and maybe a little tipsy. The following opinions and views have nothing to do with the 989 Network or its affiliates. Other than that, sit back, grab a drink, roll up a fatty, and enjoy the show.
Welcome back to the Smokehouse, Bay City, Michigan, Crossfaded Sports, straight from the 989 Network on this fantastic Monday night with two doubleheader Monday Night Football
Not
games.
one, but two.
I love that my voice cracked right there.
Yo,
Football is amazing.
Yo.
Football is great, unless you're playing fantasy football right now.
Oh, it's great if you're playing against you, though.
Oh my fucking God. So we're going to try and be more on track and not bounce around all your 7 fucking leagues and focus on the Keeper League where I am the commissioner of. We started a couple years ago. This year's draft was the most interesting because we finally had multiple years of keepers and people moving around people and stuff like that. So the draft was interesting. And we're going to start with my team because the injury bug has got me real good. I got Isaiah Pacheco, who I drafted with my first pick. And he's going to be out for at least another 7 weeks, possibly more. And then Kenneth Walker also didn't play this week. So in place of them, I am starting Gus Edwards, who got a whopping 0.9 points. And then Alexander Mattison, who thankfully got me 13.4 points. Well, I appreciate you, dog, for doing that. But Michael Pittman sucks. He fucking hasn't done shit all season. He's supposed to be like number 1 wide receiver. Drake London finally showed up. It took him 3 weeks. Trey McBride's been super. The tight ends are supposed to be stacked this year, and I feel like it's boom or bust with the tight ends. Either they have 15, 16 points or 5 or less. Rasheem Shaheed, who has been doing great. Derek Carr's like a top 5 fantasy quarterback. Top 5. And Rasheem Shaheed had 0 of 5 receptions. What the fuck? Like, what are we doing here, guys? Like, Jameson Williams, 1.2 points.
Banny is about to legitimately cry.
My kicker is the best kicker in the league point-wise. And he got
special players. Some
Dallas Cowboys
Special needs,
had
apparently.
the best defense last year, scoring-wise. They got negative 1 point. Oh my God. And all I have on my bench, I have T. Higgins, and he's supposed to play. If he scores 40 points, I'm going to be fucking pissed.
He's going to do it now.
I hope he does.
I would win if he was in the lineup if he scores 40 points.
I hope he does.
I'm losing 62.8. How abysmal is that? 62.8 to 102.48. And there's no way for me to win unless it says 1% chance. How can that even be? There's no chance. I don't understand why it even gives me 1.
I think it
be
just
0.
says, I don't think they have the 100% to 0. They've never had this before.
Oh,
They've never had such an ass whipping.
Dude, and I've been doing this for a long time. I really enjoy doing it. You know, I like to bitch and moan when your team does bad and all that good stuff. But I do have a good time. However, I've been doing this since I was 9 years old, 34. I don't know how many times I've scored only 62 points in that amount of time. That's just terrible.
Dog shit.
We've all been there before, though, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah. Agreed.
Well, I'll jump to my matchup next, and I got a familiar foe on the other side in the King of Collusion, Destin.
King of the Collusion.
It's always a fun time going up against him because you don't want to lose to him because you know he'll talk some shit. But luckily, I've got this thing locked in. I am winning 131 to 76. And he has 1 player left, but I think I'm all right. So I had a little bit better luck than Baney on the other side, almost doubling, actually over doubling his points there.
You don't have to rub it in.
Wait, what'd you say, Zach?
Over double. You want to? Okay, I'll make it a little worse. I had 1 player score half his points. Dak Prescott with a solid 29.86 points.
fucking asshole.
You have two peoples outscore Baney's team.
But the Cowboys won by 3 points.
They lost.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a throwback to the pre-production meeting when I fucked up and thought that they'd won by 3 points in our group chat, and they're like, "Are you fucking high?" And I was like, "Well, actually,
I am.
Most likely. Followed by my two starting running backs in Jahmyr Gibbs with 16 points and J.K. Dobbins with 8.4 points. Out of my wide receivers, I had Chris Olave and Nico Collins, both decently scoring. Chris Olave with 20.6. So with him and Dak Prescott, I'm almost at Baney's total there. Nico Collins with 12.6 points. My tight end was Jake Ferguson with 15 points. When I get to my bench, it was, I had a few hard decisions here to go over. For my flex, I had Zay Flowers with 5.3 points. That was disappointing after his first 2 good weeks.
yeah, he's been killing it.
Especially with that ass
to
whooping.
start the season, right? He hasn't been. Did he play week 1?
He played week 1, was hurt week 2.
Gotcha.
But yeah, Zay Flowers through the first 2 weeks was going off, and they were whooping it on Dallas there. So I'm surprised he only had 5.3 points, especially with the other tight ends there not scoring anything.
Eggs.
And then the other pain in my ass, Brandon Ayuk. How the hell do they sign him to that massive contract and just decide not to throw it his way?
I know, they're giving Ayuk no love.
It is insane. Oh, and another one, Justin Tucker, the best kicker in the National Football League in the past how many years? Missing a field goal each of the first 3 weeks.
That's ridiculous.
Only scoring 3 points.
As he can 60-yarders like nothing.
He is the record holder.
Why not?
And he had, like you said, there's a reason why Justin Tucker gets drafted as the first kicker, because he is the best kicker in the league and he has been the most consistent for a long time. So when you told me that he had missed 1 kick in the first 3 games, he probably missed 3 kicks the entire last
And they
season.
were all far left. And you said it's some technical or technique issue he's working through.
Man, I would obviously, I think that hitting a baseball might be the hardest thing on the planet to do, but having to sit on the bench for 60 minutes and go out there and perform for like 30 seconds during a football game, that's got to be very equally up there for the tough things to do. I can't imagine just be standing around on the bench chit-chatting with all the players who aren't playing, and then they're like, okay, we should go hit a 55-yarder for the win after you've just been sitting down for the whole fucking game.
Well, I mean, and all those players are out there here and there type deal, but the pressure isn't on, your quarterback or tight end or running back as much as it is on these kickers when they have to go out there and, all the situations they're put in for game winners.
It's always interesting to see when it comes down to that kick and everyone on the sideline, some of the guys are holding hands and shit. They're like, okay, you got to make this, Tucker. And then he misses it. Like, that's got to,
yeah.
And like, there's nothing those players are still on the sideline can do. It's got to feel terrible for the kicker when they miss the kick and the teammates are trying their best to not be pissed off, but they're like, okay, it's your own job. And Justin Tucker gets the most money in the league. He's the highest paid kicker, so
we might have to double check that. I think Harrison Butker might now be.
I think it is. Yeah, it is Butker. It is.
You might be right about that. Yep.
Tap them on the head if they don't make it. Swear them out in your head.
Yep.
Laces out. But for my defense, I have Pittsburgh, which has been a solid pickup, and saying that they're 3-0.
But it's not like the defense is dominant. The offense is just kind of not making mistakes. It's not like they're winning like Baltimore or any of these other teams or really, let's talk about the Saints. Like the Saints have been fucking dominating and putting up points. They're just like, we're going to get like 15 points and then you go try and run the ball on TJ Watt and the squad.
You're not getting over 14 points on them.
No.
And then, so for my bench, I'm riding the backup running backs here pretty heavy. I got lucky with the Carson Steele pickup and waiver claims there.
I did put a claim in for him, and then I put like 5 claims in for different running backs, and I didn't get any of them but Braylon Allen, Breece Hall's backup. And
that was the only other one I wanted, but I was number 1 overall on the waiver, so I had to go Carson Steele. But then I have Rico Dowdle with 8.6 points.
I put in a claim for him too.
And I have Chase Brown, who's yet to play. But then the biggest conundrum, I was sitting there an hour before the games kicked off, and I was like, who the hell do I start? I was looking at Zay Flowers and Amari Cooper. Now, Zay Flowers through the first 2 games was fantastic. I think he was averaging like 19 points. But Amari Cooper through the first 2 games was averaging 4 points. So that was an easy decision for me. And it was like last minute, 5 minutes before the game, I quickly switched it. I put Zay Flowers in over Amari Cooper. I turned Red Zone on the TV, and I see Amari Cooper catching a touchdown pass.
Of course.
10 seconds into the fucking game.
And I know he had multiple 40-point games last year too, and then he would disappear and then he'd come out and have a fucking banger of a game, and you're like, fuck, he was on my bench. What? God damn it, could you just be consistent? I'll take 20 points every week, not 40 every other 3 weeks or whatever.
Shit, I'll take 15, 16 points every week.
And I do have to, I can't hide from it, because I did even admit in the draft, I was like, he did this last year. He had 60-point games, and if you play it right, you get it. And I didn't play it right yet.
And that's the worst when you leave points on the bench.
Well, and like I said, I would love to sit here and say that I had an extra 50 points on my bench and I could have won this game, but there is absolutely no way statistically that I could have won this week at all. My team was garbage this week.
And then what I thought, and I still think is going to be a great sleeper pick at the end of our draft there, my Mr. Irrelevant, with Isaiah Likely as my backup tight end. But he only had 1.4 points, but he still outscored
more than
Mark Andrews.
Yep.
That's so well, because he was the number 1 tight end for the first 2 weeks after his week 1.
Yep.
Oh, that's so. Like I said, Trey McBride was doing so good last year towards the end of the season once Kyler came back, and he's been like 3 points, 16 points, 5 points. You know, like, just give him a couple extra balls, Kyler.
Give your balls a Doug. I'm just kidding. Well, speaking of Mark Andrews' shitty performance in fantasy football, let's get on to my
you got
team
Mark
to
Andrews?
this point.
Where did you draft him? You should be able to click on him. I'm curious, especially since I know he's not having the greatest start to the year.
Do I go history?
Yep.
I drafted him. Where the fuck will it say that? Pick in the 3rd round, number 3. I picked him. Damn.
Yeah.
Oh, that's horrible. That sucks. That's biting me in the ass.
And
that's why I was happy to do Trey McBride as my keeper, because I was like, okay, he's going to be a 10th
I started
round
to
pick.
stretch for tight ends for the first time ever this year, and now I stretched for Kelsey and Andrews, and it is biting me in the ass.
And I got Isaiah Likely in the 15th round.
Yes, suck a dick.
Did you play him week 1?
No, I did not.
Of course you didn't, right? Me either. I had him in 2 leagues.
Nobody would have. But I did say at our other fantasy group, or when we had our draft, that Isaiah Likely, when he filled in for Mark Andrews being hurt, he went off. And of course, he does that week 1, and everyone starts to pick him up and puts him on waiver order.
Yep.
So
he's that team has so many weapons. It's almost like the Houston Texans. Is Derrick Henry going to feast that?
Well,
day?
now
They're
you
not going to throw the ball.
Well, yeah, now you run a 2 tight end set because you have Derrick Henry.
There's a running game heavy.
Exactly.
Yep.
And you got Lamar. Yeah, you got Lamar and Derrick Henry. You're going to run that 2 tight end set, run heavy offense. But so I got Derrick Henry, sadly, with the goose egg this week at my tight end spot. But got Jalen
Henry at tight end.
Jesus, my bad. Mark Andrews at a good old tight end. I do have Derrick Henry as one of my running backs who had a solid performance with a nice 30.4 points. I'm hoping to see a lot more of that with Baltimore's offense getting going. QB, I got Jalen Hurts, who struggled a little bit, but still threw for over 300 yards, but threw an interception and had a fumble, so that hurt him a lot. And then I have Alvin Kamara as my second running back, which that is my main strong point on my team is my 2 running backs. After that, we go to wide receivers where I got Terry McLaurin, who is playing tonight. I'm hoping Jane Daniels and him figure it out. I got Judy with the 8.7 points in. Not too shabby. I got Jerome Ford in, who was kind of my sleeper guy. He's kind of been slowing down already, which is worrying me. But he had a nice little 10 points. And then Cortland Sutton, who I had in, he had 11 targets. 7 of them he caught for 68 yards. So I'll take that. That's not a bad day at all. Sanders for Miami. I mean, they're struggling right now for kicker. So he only had 2 points here. I'm thinking he's going to be putting up more, but it didn't. My biggest thank you and great little transfer was I took the Colts in place of the Raiders like a week or so ago because I had seen the Colts kind of next rivals, and the Raiders weren't doing too well. I think they only had like 1 or 2 points their first 2 weeks, so I switched out the Colts for the Raiders, and they ended up having a solid 12 points, which I think is going to make me win my game this week, or my matchup. On bench, I got Deshaun Watson. God knows what he's ever going to do, but I decided to pick him up. Jaylen Warren, in case what's his nuts gets hurt.
Najee.
Yep, Najee gets hurt.
Struggling to run the football.
They are. Well, and he's also questionable. And then another, not questionable for injury, but questionable all day, every day because he plays for the Carolina Panthers, is Deontay Johnson, who had a solid 26.2 on my bench. But who the fuck ever knew that the Panthers were going to win this game?
No. The Red Rocket came out slating it.
No, he did. I mean, Johnson he went 8 for 14 with 122 yards and a tutty. Not a bad day.
No, he was on my team last year. He was if he would have been on the Steelers still, I would have kept him as a keeper because he would have been like a 14th round pick for me.
I was going to say, I picked him up 7th round, which wasn't bad, but...
Yeah, but then he went to Carolina, and I was like, nope.
Yeah. Then after that, I just got good old Tyler Johnson, who I picked up from the Rams, hoping he'd do something with Puka being out. He had a nice little 5 points. And then I have Joshua Palmer, who I just picked up way late in the draft, hoping that him and Justin Herbert could figure it out. But now Herbert's hurt and Palmer's questionable, so that's a dud.
That's good. I'm going to be curious to see how that all plays out. I mean, they just want to run the football anyway, like Jim Harbaugh said, and play good defense. So hopefully he can get healthy. He's been hurt since training camp, and they've been kind of wondering if it was going to turn into something serious or not. And it sounds like it has finally.
Yeah. Stupid. Waste of talent, damn it. Quit getting hurt.
Well, and he hasn't been really hurt most of his NFL career. I feel like he's been has he?
Yeah.
He gets hurt a
I've never had
lot.
him on my team.
I've picked him up quite a few times because I've had Mike Williams or Keenan Allen before, and they would go down, and he was the next up, so you pick him up as the backup, and
Next
away,
week,
he's
boom,
down.
goes down.
Yeah.
Or goes down in that game and gets you 2 points.
But, while we're on the Chargers wide receivers, how are you guys feeling on Quentin Johnson? And he's going to be available on lots of waiver claims. I think every one of our leagues he's available.
I would say I picked up him. I'm in 7 leagues. I can't remember which one, but I know I picked him up in at least 1 league last week. But yeah, that'll be interesting. Especially, I have no idea who their backup quarterback is.
I'm trying to see who's gonna.
Easton Stick.
It's gonna be.
Easton Stick. Gotcha.
What about Heineke? Isn't he back up for Chargers or no? I could be wrong. I'm probably mistaken.
Yep, Tyler Heineke is their third. Easton Stick is their second, and they have the new rule where you can keep a third quarterback on the team.
Yep, that's what I thought.
They don't even have to dress sometimes, but I think that they can be pulled. Like, I'm not sure exactly how that works, but I'm not sure if he has to dress or what. But I mean, with Herbert out, then they'll both have to dress.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens there next week.
Nothing.
So after the quick recap of our week 3. What is one player you are most worried about on your team, but you cannot drop because they're too valuable?
Oh, that's easy.
Fucking Mark Andrews.
For me, it's got to be fucking Michael Pittman Jr. He hasn't eclipsed 10 points yet in the first 3 weeks. Anthony Richardson's kind of struggling. And I think Anthony Richardson could still be a decent fantasy quarterback. Thank God I got Kyler Murray as like my backup or maybe my starter now. But as the number one wide receiver, I was expecting a little more from him than 7 and 6 points.
Well, with mine, I mean, you have Mark Andrews, and yeah, he's the starting tight end, and you're not only gambling, is he going to go off? Are they going to get that, connection? But you also have Isaiah Likely now playing a lot more and taking his targets away. So it's a double loss type deal.
See, if you would have asked me, or if I would have asked this before the games last week here, it would have right away been Amari Cooper. But after his performance, I can't be him anymore. Honestly, the one I'm actually worried about is going to be J.K. Dobbins going forward through the future. He's been one of those ones with questionable injuries, So is it
now with the quarterback position being, up? I mean, who knows who's going to really start? But either or, I don't see much happening.
But I see a slow regression, especially if, he does start getting a little more injured.
And then they're going to stack the box because they're not going to be as confident without Herbert in there.
No, exactly. That's exactly it.
And it sucks, too, because Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins have both gotten hurt, I think, every year for the last at least 2 seasons. A major sort of injury. And J.K. Dobbins, who was on the Pat McAfee show, who seems like a really cool and fun guy.
I know.
He seems awesome. But he was like, I've never been injured before like that until I got to the NFL. He's still only 25 or 26 years old, and he hasn't been running because he's been hurt the last 2 seasons. So he's got a lot of tank, left in the tank. We'll see what happens.
He's got a lot of tank.
He's got a lot left in the tank. He's still young. He's not hit that 28 years old where you see all the regression. So we'll see what happens.
I just really hope Justin Herbert comes back quick for him.
Yeah.
Because, I'm not sure how it's going to go going forward.
Especially in that division with the Raiders kind of being up and down, and obviously you have the Chiefs, and the Broncos aren't going to be anything, so they have a chance to compete in that division if they keep their shit together while he's hurt.
Who are you most happy with on your team, and always going to keep?
Jahmyr Gibbs. Easy lock in right there. He's just been solid.
Oh, yeah. No, I would definitely have to agree with that. I got to go with Alvin for sure. I mean, he's just been going off and is a straight dog
after complaining about having to keep him. Dog.
I didn't keep him, though.
For me, it'll be, you did.
No.
Kamara?
Yeah. I didn't keep him.
But you drafted him again?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
A round later.
Kyler Murray is probably going to be my guy that has been most impressive. And I kind of took a flyer on him in the 6th round, I believe, because of the talent there was so sparse with all the keepers starting to really come out. So I decided to take a little, especially with all the injuries to quarterback and Anthony Richardson are constantly being injured. I couldn't just count on Anthony Richardson, and he hasn't even been performing, even though I was so high on him to start the season. He's still got plenty of time. It's only week 3, but Kyler Murray has taken your starting spot, Mr. Richardson, on my fantasy team.
Yeah, and I wish I wouldn't have told you to start Kyler over
even if
Anthony.
it doesn't matter. I would have never won this week either way.
Well, no, but me and you in our other league, I would have probably won had you started Anthony Richardson over Kyler.
He only got 6 more points to 15.78 to
Makes it closer.
7.08.
So I have one last matchup we should review here, and that is our last undefeated team in the Keeper League going in. Tyler's team is 2-0, and he is down 148 to 68. He has 68. So, but he has 3 players left. So we're likely not going to have an undefeated team past week 3 here.
I like it. I like it a lot.
That just shows it is a little bit competitive, I think.
Oh yeah, all these motherfuckers in this league know football like no other.
I'm looking for that game right now. But everyone's got different team names from last year.
He's one QB. He's got Trevor Lawrence and
Etienne.
And
And Brian Robinson Jr.
And Cincinnati.
and Bengals defense. Jesus.
So he's got 4 players left to play.
Nah, they're not.
Oh, he needs a lot.
They're not putting up 80
70
points.
Yeah. 80 points. Yeah, you're right. 80 points. That would be an insane comeback. Bless you. That was an interesting sneeze the second time.
Dad sneeze.
All right. Well, we're going to make sure we keep you guys updated in our Keeper League and our trials and tribulations as we go through the fantasy football season and continue to watch more games and get more knowledge. Hopefully everybody can stay healthy and the players who do get injured can make a speedy recovery so they can be back in my starting lineup like Isaiah Pacheco and Kenneth Walker. You guys need to get healthy and happy and be ready to play because we're going to have to make a comeback in the second part of this season because I am struggling right now. But as always, we are Cross-Rated Sports, 989.network, Booga has Zach, Connor the Condor, Baney with the Fanny. Everybody love everybody.
Yelly.
Woo!
We like sports and we don't care who knows. From shooting hoops to the Super Bowl. We like sports and we don't care who knows. Football, tennis.